Good morning, children. Today I'll be taking few experiments from this chapter of root absorption. The first one is to demonstrate that water is absorbed by the roots. See, we'll take two test tubes and label them as A and B. We'll take water in both the test tubes. Then we will pull out a young leafy shoot such as a balsam from the soil with its root hair intact. Immediately we will put that leafy shoot with the root hairs intact in the test tube A, and we will not put any plant in test tube B. Then we'll put some oil in both the test tubes to prevent any loss of water from the test tube due to evaporation. We'll mark the level of water in both the test tubes. We will leave this setup for a day or so. Then afterwards we'll find that the water level in the test tube A falls. From its initial level, it will come down to lower level, whereas the water level in test tube B remains constant. There will be no change in the level of water in test tube B. It is because the level of water in the test tube A falls, proving that the water lost in test tube A was absorbed by the roots. And as there was no plant in test tube B, so no question of the change in the level of water. This test tube B acts as a control setup. So this experiment proves that water is absorbed by the roots. So the roots absorb water, and when goes into the plant, the level of water in the test tube falls. Next experiment is to show that water is conducted upwards through the xylem. We have proved it theoretically that it is the xylem tissue which conducts water from the roots and then to the xylem tissue of the stem and then to the xylem tissue of the leaf. So throughout, water is conducted through xylem tissue. So we are going to perform an experiment to prove that. We'll take a medium-sized young balsam plant. We'll uproot it. We will wash that plant and place it in a beaker containing a stain eosin solution. We'll put eosin solution in the water in a beaker. The water will change into pink in color because of this stain. The plant is being placed in the beaker in such a way that the roots should be completely submerged in the solution. This setup is kept aside for 3 to 4 hours, and at the end of this period, the plant is taken out of the solution and then washed in tap water. Afterwards, we'll take out the plant. We'll cut a thin transverse section of root, stem and leaves. Their section is made on the glass slide and is observed under the microscope. Then we'll find the xylem vessels of root, stem and leaf are stained red or orange, red, and are different in color as compared to other parts of the plant body. Only the xylem tissue will show this color. It means the colored water has traveled through this tissue only, thus giving it pinkish color. And this tissue is the xylem tissue. So red colored xylem vessels of the root, stem and leaf clearly prove that the eosin solution they pass through the tissue only during the upward movement. It means the conduction of water takes place through the xylem vessels from the roots to the leaves. This is the figure of this experiment. We have taken a beaker, with water in it, an eosin solution is added to it. The water becomes red or orange red in color. The plant with its root is being dipped in the water. And we leave this setup for 3-4 hours. Then a thin section of leaf, a stem and the root is being made, and these sections under the microscope have shown that the xylem tissue has taken up that color. Now we'll come to the next experiment to demonstrate that conduction of water, that is ascent of sap, takes place through xylem by another form of experiment, that is ringing or girdling experiment. We'll take 2 fresh leafy shoots. This is one leafy shoot and this is the other leafy shoot with the leaves intact, say of balsam plant only. From one shoot we will remove about 3 centimeter long ring of bark. Outer part of the stem is being removed and that part contains phloem tissue up to the cambium, keeping the inner part intact, that is xylem tissue is intact. This is called ringing or girdling. Then we'll suspend this shoot in the beaker containing water with the help of a stand. This is setup A. Then from the other shoot we will remove an equal length of central part. See, this central part has been removed, same 3 meters length, and the inner central part is made up of xylem tissue that we have removed. The phloem tissue is intact in this part. Keeping the peripheral part, that is the boundary part containing phloem tissue intact as shown. Suspended another beaker containing water with the help of a retort stand and label it. Leave this setup undisturbed and their lower end immersed in water for a couple of days. What we will observe, that in setup A we'll find the leaves remain fully turgid. They are fresh, green and turgid because the xylem tissue is intact and the water from the lower end of the stem is continuously passing through the xylem tissue and reaching to the leaf cells. Another thing we'll see is water level in the beaker decreases because the water is being used up by the plant to be provided to be taken up to the leaves. Then we will find that some adventitious roots are seen arising from the bulge parts of the upper end. This is the girdling, the cut part, and this part, the upper part of the stem, slowly just above the girdled part, it gets swollen like this. This part gets swollen because the food, when being made by the leaf cells by the force of gravity, this is the descent of sap and it comes down through the phloem tissue. The outer peripheral part is intact and could not be further transported to the lower part where the girdle, the ring has been cut off. The phloem tissue has been removed. So the food could not get the phloem tissue further to transport the food downward. As a result, the food gets accumulated at this cut end and it bulges out and some adventitious roots are seen coming out from it. The lower part below the girdle of the stem, this part, lower part, below this part, we have cut off the phloem tissue. You will find this lower part slowly shrink because the food stored here is being used up and further no fresh food is being provided to them. And the food already present being stored, which was stored here before, is being exhausted. So ultimately it shrinks and this lower part dies. Now in setup B, I'll repeat the setup A. In setup A, the leaves remain fully turgid, water level in the beaker decreases, adventitious roots are seen arising from the bulge base of the upper end of cut portion that also grows up in diameter due to the accumulation of food, and the part below the ring eventually shrivels. In setup B, the leaves droop down, it becomes flaccid. See, the leaves droop down. Why? Because we have removed, in this part we have removed the xylem tissue, and the xylem tissue has been removed, so there the water is being taken up by the xylem tissue from the beaker and will come to the upper end, but when the cut portion is, the xylem tissue is being removed from the cut portion, the water is not being conducted upward. So the leaves above are deprived of water, they dry and they fall down. Water level in the beaker does not decrease. So the xylem in shoot A is intact. That is why the water from the beaker keeps on moving in the upper direction and the leaves remain fully turgid, and the water level in the beaker keeps on decreasing in setup A. And in setup A, the swelling of the shoot above the girdle and the development of adventitious root prove that the cutting of the phloem results in accumulation of food. The lower cut portion shrivels first as it does not get food because of the cutting of the phloem part. In shoot B, because of the cutting of xylem, the upward movement of water does not take place continuously. The leaves wilt or become flaccid because of the non-availability of water. That is why the water level in the beaker remains unchanged. Now we will come to the third experiment, the third experiment and the last part of the chapter, to demonstrate that food is conducted through phloem. We will cut a ring round a woody stem girdled by removing the ring of bark, leaving xylem intact. See, as we have done in this case. We will remove the phloem tissue. The outer part of the bark is being removed. The xylem is intact. The sap starts oozing out from the further cut margin of the. We leave this setup for few hours. After few hours, we'll find that the leaves, that when they undergo photosynthesis, they have prepared food. The food is being conducted into the phloem tissue of the upper part of the stem, moves down to reach to the lower end, but just above the cut portion, the food gets accumulated here at the base of the upper part of stem. Because the phloem tissue is absent at the cut portion, the food is further not conducted downward, and this part starts bulging due to accumulation of food, and the lower portion of the stem below the cut portion, slowly it shrinks because the food which was already stored before has been used up and is exhausted, and fresh food is not being supplied to it. So this proves that the phloem tissue is responsible for transporting food from leaves to all the parts of the plant up to the storage organs. So the bulge proves that food is conducted through the phloem in plants. So this was all about this chapter. Children, we have completed the chapter, and now I will be giving you the assignment of this chapter, the fourth assignment, part B. So for this chapter of root absorption, there are two assignments. For A assignment, you have to see the videos 1 to 6, and from 7 onwards videos you will be consulting for the assignment of part B of this chapter. Thank you.